live here on Nua Collective's brand new podcast, Spill the Art Tea. Hello, Josh Stein. How are you?
I am good. How are you doing, Eamonn?
I'm good. Am I shouting? Is that too loud?
No, you're
No.
fine.
Okay, cool. I'll keep the audio down this level. So cool. My name is Eamonn B. Shanahan, with the obnoxious B in the middle, and I am the creative director of Nua Collective, and also like working in the arts for like the last 12 years. So hopefully my brain of knowledge about the art and the cultural world will add to this exciting, very new, very cool new podcast. What about you, Josh? What are you bringing to the table?
I'm Josh Stein. I'm an artist. I work as both a painter and a sculptor. I'm a professor, a writer. I've done a lot of different things over the years. Winemaker, musician. So I'd
Wine.
say I bring the common person's perspective of
Cool.
art not being as full of itself as I think it is.
Well, we're not bringing the wine, we're bringing the tea. So let's bring the tea so we can spill it, Josh. Cool. So, you guys, thank you so much for joining us for those who are tuning in right now. But remember to keep us going, like,
And subscribe.
yes, and keep this video in your streams for the next coming weeks where we will be releasing a new episode every Friday so we can spill that tea on all things art. Spill the art tea.
And do us a favor, send this to 3 friends before your day is over.
That would be great. Yeah. Spread the news, share the love. Cool. So, we're going to introduce to you straight away. We're going to like no waiting about here. We're going to go straight into our guest. Who have we got today?
Maria, are you there?
I'm here, lads. Nice to see
Hi,
you.
Maria.
Hi,
Welcome.
Maria.
Welcome to the show. You are our debut guinea pig.
You
I'm the
want to
guinea pig
briefly?
in the middle, literally, because you're in London and you're in San Francisco and I'm on the East Coast of the
Yeah.
United States.
We
You
have
want
the
to briefly tell
morning.
us about yourself?
An artist currently finishing an MFA at the School of Visual Arts in New York and having a great time exploring art and hopefully going to spill some tea with you guys, art tea today.
That's really cool. That's really cool. And look, we are really excited to have you here too, Maria. And as I said, or just about to say, until we were rudely interrupted or not, maybe just we need to get our channels in line, guys. But we have the morning, the afternoon, and the evening time right here in this one frame rate. How is that possible? It is possible because we are connecting through the internet. How cool is that? And what's with the hand? I'm like some sort of like hip person. This is ridiculous. I have to stop taking those tablets. Okay, here we go. So let's start spilling the tea on our first topic. Josh, you want to introduce what we're just about to talk about?
So, this has been quite the controversy this week, and I don't think it was intended to be a controversy, but sure enough, it has turned out to be one. If your
Okay.
name is Jonathan Yo, you are thinking, I thought I had this great portrait of the king ready to present to the world. And what has the world said in response?
This is the portrait of King Charles III by Jonathan Yeo, and it's been all over the internet for the last couple of days, and it's like been completely memeified, and it has been spread across Instagram, across YouTube, across every channel possible. Poor King Charles has been getting a little bit of a hard time.
And before we show you some of the mockery that's been done of this, just look at the picture itself. It's that sense that the king has somehow merged into his own background velour. And what we
Yeah.
have is just Charlie's face and hands.
He actually asked for the butterfly to be in the portrait, I believe. So it's like he's come out of his cocoon and he's now flying like a butterfly, spreading his wings. But
Yes.
I personally really like it. I think it's really really nice. I really think it's a beautiful portrait.
I
Because
think
you
that
know
makes
that
us two of two people who like this portrait, Eamon. You and I. I like it too, but I agree the red is like slightly problematic for all things colonial. And the fading in is like, is this a statement on the monarchy and the state of the monarchy? Who
but
knows?
the butterfly, what is this? Like the most pampered fail son of them all is like, now I get to come out of my cocoon now that mommy's dead. Where have you
Oh.
been for the last 70 years? Come on.
Oh dear. Now. Okay, right. Let's move to the next piece. Right. So this is the first iteration that we're going to share. Are we ready? Okay. So are you seeing what I'm seeing? Is
That's a
this
rhubarb pie.
this is a rhubarb pie with the beautiful red tones that are just embedded in that stunning rhubarb coulis. I think it looks only delicious, don't you think?
I think the matching of tone, the matching of color, it's wonderful. What I'm amazed at is this painter spent 2 years giving us these tones. And I'm sorry, but I just think maybe a little more contrast next time, my friend.
Definitely. What do you think, Maria?
Oh, again, I'm kind of a sucker for that sort of thing. So I like the fading thing. I like the portrait. I think the whole, taking the piss all through. Everybody's talking about it. It's memeified. It's been well and truly rhubarbed, and he's right there. You can see him.
Speaking of which,
Let's get this on. May the 4th was a little bit, 2 weeks ago, so it's a bit dated, but nonetheless, it does make a bit of an impact.
well, certainly a number of people have pointed out the kind of irony about the blood tones of the piece and Charles and the whole monarchy's history, right? And so this kind of thing kind of flips it and puts it directly on the nose with that whole emperor in charge.
Cool. I really like this. I think the Star Wars motive is actually quite a fun. And it's just like it's like the whole aging thing though as well, and not to kind of put a bad kind of spell or taste in about it, but I just feel that like the fact that he is quite old in that picture, and it's just highlighting the age and that
He is
butterfly still sitting on his shoulder.
he was like the world's oldest like non-king, right? Like he
Yes.
was Prince Charles my entire life. I mean, and then I think this is the coup de resistance, the chef's
And
kiss of all.
the final piece of this iterations that we have, which I think is quite funny. I sense I sense great vulnerability, a man child crying out for love, an innocent orphan in the postmodern world. And it's just I just look directly at his hands and how his hands are placed, and just the posture of that with the expression of Seinfeld's face is just priceless.
But are you also aware of the problems that the actor who played this character in Seinfeld got himself into here in the United States a few years ago?
Do inform us, non-states people.
This adds an extra layer to that quote up top, because Michael Richards, the guy who plays this character, he had this whole racist rant on stage, and it was all filmed, and it basically killed his career. Like he basically has done nothing since. And so it was exactly like that. It was this like fragile white male who has like literally melted down, right? Like before we had the term Karen, he was like the original Karen on camera. And then and then he's Kramer at the same time, right? And so it's the whole thing was very weird, but it works perfectly for this particular mockery of the king. Sorry for those who support the monarchy.
The poor monarchy. He is a lovely man. He is a lovely man. And like, I mean, I respect the royal family and their position in the monarchy, and I think as an Irish person to say that, I think it's a good thing to say. But they're very good for tourism. They bring in the money. Working in the culture sector, we need that money. So, no, cool. I think that has been like hot topic at the moment. So I think that tea has been spilt. Let's move things along. So we're just going to give you a little bit of a preview into what is happening in Nua Collective right now. We are a visual art community, and we're home to 20 artists and hundreds of their artworks, with fresh work added weekly. Our Nua journal featuring articles and podcasts are also available on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and our beautiful print publications highlighting our collaborative collections is also available for sale right there too. Blackout, our international touring exhibition, is currently showing at the Eli Centre of Contemporary Art in New Haven, where Maria is right now, until June 2nd. Don't forget,
And
guys,
me.
to... Oh, and Josh, of course. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram and TikTok, and like and subscribe this video on to follow us on our YouTube channel so you don't miss us spilling the tea in our weekly roundups every Friday. So let's go back to us. So let's go on to our next topic. Josh, where are we heading?
So next we come to the art provocateur, the art jester, Mauricio Cattelan, and the ongoing controversy both as usual with the actual work itself and the kind of wider ripple in the art world which he makes. And I think that's, if you're an art provocateur, that's kind of the point, right? You want people not just to pay attention to the art, but to pay attention to you, because if you're on people's lips, then you're on their minds, and perhaps you'll also be in their wallets and purses and those kinds of things. And so Cattelan, you may know him. He's the guy who had the banana that was duct taped to the wall, which sold for a couple $100,000. Another version of which someone plucked off the wall at an art fair earlier this year and just ate the banana again, not even realizing that it was part of the art project. He has famously had a gold toilet that was installed. So the current project is having three of his assistants using handguns and shotguns and shooting into large metal gold-plated plates. And so then it's like, I would say probably 100 of those plates that are lined up on the wall to create this huge kind of golden, almost Trump-esque kind of installation.
Cool. Let's have a look. So here we have Mauricio's Cattelan's installation piece that Josh so eloquently described. It is humongous and it takes up the entire space. Wow, is it impactful? And the gold and the space in itself, especially considering it is in such a high street gallery space, it's just really emphasizing the fact of value that we're trying to kind of put out here. And the fact that this is in this gallery space means that it has got that big meritas. What are you taking from this, Maria? What is your do you know much about this work, about this controversy, or the controversy we were about to kind of unravel?
Well, so Anthony James, who has been making work in this way for many decades, has a piece very close by. And if you pop it on screen, you can see it's also panels that happen to be, I don't know if they're aluminum silver, but it's in contrast in silver. And you can see the pock marks of the gunshots. But he's been gunshotting metal for a very long time and claims that Cattelan must have seen his work and has, of course, pirated in some way. So a lot of questions here.
Those are chrome steel that Anthony James does. But you can see his install. He has these like infinity mirrors that go with it, right? It's a very different kind of aesthetic than what Cattelan is doing. And yeah, the real kind of controversy in the art world is the fact that they're geographically very close to each other, like a stone's throw essentially. And Cattelan claims he knows nothing about this. And I mean, if you look at the way he does it, like a lot of his work works with gold, and it's about kind of the impactfulness of exactly value and playing with value in ways that the other artist, I think, is doing something different. And to me, honestly, I think that the other artist who's working in the chrome, it reads more like something out of the 80s. Like I expect there to be, half naked women and Porsches in how some of that kind of layout is. And I don't have anything, like, I don't really care about Cattelan. It's funny how he kind of pokes fun at things, but his install is very much more like a large, I am gold, I am. And each of those panels, there's got to be like 100 of them. They're each already pre-sold for hundreds of thousands of dollars because of who he is, right? Like, that's his name, that's the piece, come by me.
I've just put them side by side there just to kind of give us an overview of just how similar they are. I mean, insofar as that you can get the same embellishments that are there. They're both quite reflective. They both have high-end materials that they're using, and they're quite similar in those sort of in those ways. But what brings this controversy even further?
Well, I think it's the idea, right, that is Cattelan actually plagiarizing or not? That's really kind of the big thing. And you have this long-term person, and he says, no, I don't know anything
about this. And as an artist, convergent evolution happens. It's certainly possible to not be aware of what somebody else is doing and not paying attention to what other artists are making. As a painter, that happens all the time. So I don't care. I just think, for me, I don't think the chrome just reminds me of like stuff from the 1980s, right? Like curved chrome light installations and sofas with chrome metal, and it's just very much of the past to my eye. And Cattelan's, I think the thing about gold, right, is a certain timelessness to it, and I think he's intentionally trying to invoke that, even when he's like mocking things with like a gold toilet.
And the
No.
pieces look quite different when you see them like this now. I don't know what they look in real life, but it's obviously the working methods that are sort of a little bit of question here. I mean, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens from an intellectual property kind of perspective. Like, at what point are you building on the shoulders of others' works or in dialogue with their work versus actually outright plagiarizing something? This is a working method, I think, because
Yeah, it's a
they.
technique, right? It's like, do I have to? Am I not allowed to use the same brushes as somebody else? Am I not allowed to use the same palette knives or the same paints? Right? It's just, it doesn't make sense, and I think it's the usual art world finding a kerfluffle in ways that perhaps are not actually valid because
Yeah.
each artist is doing their own thing.
Yeah.
I
Or
mean, it
doing our
kind
own
of
thing.
reminds
Yeah.
me of the. Well, it also reminds me of some of what's going on in music right now about like what is a song like and whose
Yeah.
song, there's like it's very gray and very fuzzy. And
It is.
I mean, we all know that as artists, we make in dialogue with many communities, those
Mm.
before us, those currently. I mean, it's a very dialogic process. Most people are not locked up in their studios,
No.
24/7 by themselves,
No,
right?
and I think that's a good point, right? Because everybody's using the same software to like master their songs and edit them, right? No one's like, oh, you use that, so I can't use that software now to make what I'm
Mm.
making. It's the end result of what it
Sure.
actually sounds like, right? And as we said, the installs here look very different, have very different aesthetics, very different sort of like intentionality to them. So to me, that's the bigger issue. It's not about using common techniques, because at the end of the day, technique is kind of like geometry. There's only a certain number of things we can actually work with, right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's how we take it forward is what makes it unique and what makes us artists and how we make that our own and what we put our own stamp on it. And I think you're absolutely right. It's how they went about it and how it is relative to what's kind of happening in the broader sense of it. Okay, that's that tea spilt. Let's move on. So, Maria, we're coming to you. Maria, you are doing some great work at the moment. You're doing your masters. Tell us a little bit about what's happening in your studio right now.
Well, I'm in the process of building some rather large boats, 7 foot long. I've built five. They're all made from different materials, and they are not to float. Well, they are going to float, except they're going to float in the sky because I'm making an installation with these five boats floating above a garden of the future. So the idea is that they are vessels for us to imagine our future, given the shambles and state of much of what's around us right now. I know in the US it's very hard times and certainly in other
Mm.
countries. So just creating a work for people to sort of join me in imagining differently.
Great. And
And and I,
we have a really cool sneak peek that we want to show everybody. So if I could just transition into that, that'd be cool. And then we'll. So here we go. This is your Haunting the Future installation piece.
yeah, so this is the wooden boat. It's about 7 feet long, and you can see it's hanging from the ceiling. And so it'll be in good company with boats made from bioplastic and vellum and woven aluminum. So I'm playing with ideas of repair, stitching together, gluing, sewing, with as activities that we have to engage in currently, presently. I'm trying to stay very real. I'm like not choosing like dystopia or utopia. I'm trying to like put people in a garden with their boots on the ground and sort of the ideas of modern cosmologies and my own history. I'm Irish also, so our own myths are very powerful. So I'm drawing on past, present, future, and the sort of the ideas of circularity of time and other speculative futures. It's been very fun,
Yeah.
super interesting.
Yeah.
And how long does a build like that take you for each of the boats, Maria?
It depends. I mean, it probably takes 2 or 3 weeks, depending on the material. I mean, it's the first time round, so like it's exploration. It's gotten some of it's quicker, but like I'm making bioplastic right now and stitching it together. It's like a skin. It's very cool, but I had to remake one of the bioplastics, so you kind of go back to the drawing board and you're tinkering. So it could take this. It's 3 or 4 weeks maybe. Not to mention all the thinking and conceptualization before that. So it's a
No, it
work in
looks
progress.
incredible, and it's so refined
Thank
even
you.
in its current state. And I think what it looks like to me, it has that vesicular feeling about it when you look at it, when you observe it, and the fact that it's elevated, I think, is quite interesting because typically your vessel is or a boat is in water or it's submerged in something. So the fact that it's elevated is maybe giving it another level of something. Is there a particular reason for that?
Yeah, I'm trying to sort of do play with uncanniness and sort of boats are very metaphorical, and there is lots of boats sailing off, like, and so I'm playing with cosmological things like boats in the air. I've got the garden, I've got the cosmos on the ground. So I've got things a little upside down. I'm just trying to shake people out of what might be ordinary. Like, it's not really an ordinary garden. It's kind of tinkering with people, and then you have the boats in the air to sort of help them sail on to a different future, perhaps. I don't know.
And then
That sounds really corny.
with the time we have left, can you tell us a little bit about that garden?
Um, well, you and I talked yesterday at length about it, Josh. Thank you so much. But the garden it's based on a Persian garden with 4 quadrants, and each quadrant has like a different feel. So one of them is a pond, which is based on narcissus, but it has fragments of glass on it. So to deal with the fragmentation of modern life. And then there's a wilded garden, which suggests, like, after we're gone, if we don't get it right, things will still survive us. Like, this wilded garden will still survive us. And then I also have a sort of semi-suggestion of a boat wreckage. I've got this copper that I'm working with and old beams that's in another part of the quadrant. And as I said, there's a cosmological video that will reflect up at the boats, cosmos on the ground, boats in the air. So there's footpaths. The idea is people should be able to be in it and be fully embodied and, hopefully affected by the work. I don't know. We'll see.
Oh, that sounds really cool. We're really looking forward to sharing all of that work with our collective, and then as well with our audiences across our social streams on Instagram, on Twitter, on wherever you check out Nua Collective, and of course on our website at www.nuacollective.com, where you can see all of Maria's work and Josh's work and everybody else's work in the collective too. So do check that out. And don't forget, Josh, what are we to do?
You're supposed to like and share and send it on to friends before the day is over. Why not do it right now? Why not just say, hey, I just saw this amazing feed, this podcast. It's unbelievable. These people don't give a shit, and they say it the way it really is about the art world. Send it to your friends. Have them like and share. Let's build this together.
Yeah, spill the tea. This tea has been spilled. Thank you, Maria, so much for joining us today on our very first debut Spill the RT podcast. So thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for having
Thank you, Maria.
Next week we'll have a sound effect next week for clapping hands, but for now we'll do an acoustic round of applause. So thank you so much, Maria, and thank you, Josh. And we've lost Josh. Josh, are you there? Have we got technical difficulties already? Oh, for goodness sake. Okay, well, that's all for today, folks. Thank you so much for joining us. Do remember to follow, share, like, subscribe, all of the above, and we'll see you next week. Adios, amigos.
Bye, folks.
Bye, guys.